must have done pretty good. Most of you came back, so I was a little afraid it would be like me and Alex when they drive up there with me, so thank you. What kind of ahas do you guys have from the first segment? Anything you're going to do different in your business starting tonight? Yes?
I love your door knocking.
Door knocking? Yeah. Door knocking with other offers. I mean, I stopped thinking like Realtor Craig. I started thinking like Consumer Craig. And Consumer Craig would be my dog's barking, my kids are afraid, somebody's knocking at my door, and frankly I'm frustrated. And then some dude or gal is standing there with 4 offers that my neighbor got. I'll be like, tell me more, right? That's Consumer Craig. It's a game changer. And as long as we're in a market like this, we get that opportunity, right? Awesome. I saw a hand back here.
Yeah, I love the directionals. I have a few listings that they're kind of hard to find, and I never really even thought about the power of 10 directionals.
Right?
And what it can bring to my business.
10 directionals. And make sure your name's on. That's the key. Yes, sir. Yeah, so email info. My assistant is going to freak out. info@craigricker.com. I'll send you guys whatever you want. Just give me a few days. What other kind of ahas did you guys have? Expired listings? Old ones. Yeah. Yeah, there was one guy on my team started helping me with expireds, and we made fun of him during that part. It's like, way back. And he used to, like, literally, we'd have our headphones on and we could barely hear the people around us, but there was just enough surface noise. And every time he got a live one, it's like, way back. And it was great because it made all of us crack up. Right? So your house expired way back. But it did expire way back. Like, some of them are literally, did I try and sell my home? Yes, ma'am, 7.5 years ago. No competition. And they're just completely blown away at what their value is today. I mean, I was meeting with somebody earlier, and without exaggeration, we besides the 90 homes, we have a stack of leads to follow up on, literally that high. It's like 10 phone books high of people that we'll be doing business with in the weeks, months, and years to come from that script. Yeah. Another one, no, you only get one.
Do you use some form that you ask your potential buyer?
Great question. Yeah, we're going to get into a little bit more of the systems and how we put this together. So we have I like color coordinated just because white paper is everywhere, right? So any new listing opportunity that I'm going on to an appointment, we've got what we call a pink sheet, which, and for those of you that are KW, it's right off the KW website. And it's just the questions that you ask the seller before you go there. If you don't have it, your team leaders can find it for you. We just print ours in pink. So literally, if I see pink floating around the office, falls out my trunk, in my car, in my marketplace, my average commission is about $10,000. So anytime I see a pink sheet, I believe it's $10,000. Because as soon as I get a signed listing contract, it goes off to somebody else on my team and they change the color of it, but I'm in charge of everything pink. For the leads that we have as we're making these phone calls, we use half sheets of yellow paper, and I can send you those as well. It's just very basic. It's agent's name, so it might be my buyer's agent, John, or our team, client's name, phone number, email address, and then notes. And that's all that's on there. And then they hand it to me to close it after they got it. So I did all the closing. I mean, maybe 1 out of 20 they would close and schedule the appointment, but any lead they got from Circle Prospecting, they would hand to me, and then I would work on closing and getting an appointment. Yeah. Question back?
Do you ever do direct mail and door knockers?
Direct mail is on my list of things to do. Door knockers, I mean, I'm assuming you mean leaving things at the home when I door knock?
Either that or somebody goes out there and does it for you.
We have not. Like, literally all I used to do is just email my database and wait for my phone to ring. So everything I've talked about today, I did not do 111 days ago. I think what I'm most excited about with these results, I mean, we've made closed dollars in my account, $400,000 in the last 60 days. That's been our GCI. And we've got close to 50 in escrow. Right? Those were not the numbers I was averaging in the first quarter, I can promise you that. What I'm most proud of is we completely led with revenue. So that's a great question, and there's a ton of marketing we can do, but does it cost any money for you and your team to call people for 2 hours? Yeah, it costs $250 for headsets, and it costs $40 for Mojo, and it costs $80 for Red X. So I spent $500 to get 900,000, right? My average commission is $10,000, 90 listings is $900,000. So who would like to spend $5,000 to make 900,000? Oh, and that doesn't count all the buyers, right? Because 70% of them needed to buy homes after we sold their home. And that doesn't count all the buyers who picked up all sign calls, open houses, etc. I mean, without exaggeration, just these 90 listings will turn into 150 to 200 pieces of closed business for us. And we spent less than $5,000. Yeah.
How do you keep this pace of tenancies without burning out your people? And it really, you've done this for 111 days, and I think it's great, I'm taking notes, but I see exhaustion, you don't build.
Oh my gosh, like, I remember, did I ask earlier how many people have been through Bold? So, we had Coach Bill Pipes as a Bold coach, really phenomenal guy. And my coach was on a fishing trip, like in the Arctic, I couldn't reach him. And my entire team, I came in one day, they were bawling. And as I mentioned, I'm not a crier, and they were crying. And here's what was, I kept saying to my wife who I work with is, these are good tears though, right? The tears 2 months ago is we had no business. The tears now is, Craig, I've got 9 buyers, I want to see homes today, what do I do? Right? Craig, the Johnsons are mad because their sign didn't go up. I was like, we sold it, who cares? Right? Like, these were the problems we had. All the problems that we started having were because we were doing so much business. My goal right now is just 20 listings a month. So I went from 5 to 30, and now I can do 20 standing on my head. So we're not staying on track. My goal is not to list 365 homes. Right? But if I can list from here out for the rest of my career 240 listings a year, in my marketplace, I'm going to sell 180 of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we're, on top of that, we went from 5 to 10 people.
Yeah.
So we had tremendous growth in our support staff, our sales staff, etc., which comes with its own set of problems because they're either new to real estate or new to my team. Right? But now we're kind of hitting back into a groove. It became a new norm for us.
Will you stay at 10?
At 10 people?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
140 a year, you'll stay at 10.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding.
That's 140 listings a year, you'll stay at
10 people to list 240 a year, absolutely.
10. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Craig, what's the breakdown of your team? The 10 members, what is that?
So we've got me. Really, all I do at this point is my listings. That's it. So it's great. I've got like 2-3 hours of work a day on those at most. I was telling Alex in our car right up here that every morning when I show up, I've got a bin above my desk and it's that day's listings. And my admin does all the CMAs for like the new construction, every home looks like. Like I don't do those CMAs, and I should because they're all alike. So those are easy. So anything that's a little funky, they put a note on and I do those CMAs and those are my listings for the day. So that's my listing coordinator, Emily, that had that great post. I've got a lead buyer's agent, and he has 3 showing assistants. How many people in the room are familiar with the showing assistant model? Okay, we're definitely going to talk about showing assistants. So I've got a lead buyer's agent. He's got 3 showing assistants. I've got my wife. She is basically the team leader. So she runs the team, holds people accountable. She does the tough stuff that I don't want to do. And then I've got 2 transaction coordinators. So the first one got exhausted and overwhelmed. So we brought a second one in to take some pressure off of her. And then we've got an office manager, and her job is dealing with that giant stack of leads. So every time we get a lead, if I can't close them and set an appointment, it goes to her and she puts them on our drip campaign. And then she also, like, literally is in charge of giving us Gatorade, cookies, like just keeping us warm and happy and having supplies as we're going through this. So that makes up the 10 of us. Yes? I love that, and I was on a board of directors for a large group in Portland, and I had a chance to either MC or be one of the panelists, or if nothing else because I was on the board, I saw the feedback, and inevitably there was always feedback after these meetings where we had 200-300 top agents in Portland from all the different companies, and they said, it was all about teams, I hate teams, I'm not a team. And so, thank you so much for asking that question if you don't have that type of personnel. To me, this whole venture was about setting a goal. It was about setting a goal and committing to it. This is the first year, my son's 10. It's the first year I didn't have a family vacation, right? Poor me. But I've been making a lot of money for a long time. I didn't, right? I was selling 125, 150 homes a year, but I didn't go on a family vacation because I set a goal. And if I went on that goal, there's no way that we would have, if I went on that vacation, there's no way I would have hit it. We came in towards the last 6 weeks, every single weekend, and did that power dialing. You know, today we did 25 hours of lead gen to catch up when we're behind on our goal. We literally committed to it and didn't let it go. So my answer to your question would be, you don't need a team, you may never want a team, but set a goal that stretches you. As we talked about before, if your goal is to run a marathon, you're going to run through 5 miles a day before you know it because you're so focused on 26. Right? So if your goal is an individual agent, or maybe an individual agent with one admin or wherever you're at, set a goal that stretches you, make it go for a period of time, and make sure that you track your results, and don't compromise it. Because there were so many times that we're all about to give up, and we would all support each other and push each other through. And you can do that even as an individual agent by telling your spouse, your coworkers, your team leader, your home warranty representative, your title company. And we all have this amazing support staff around us. So to me, this is absolutely nothing about having a team. It was about setting a goal, and individually I did everything that I had to do to complete it. And in this case, I had some team members that decided to join me, and it became a beautiful thing for all of us. But with or without them, I did the exercises individually I needed to do to get out of the slump that my business was truly in. Yeah, I feel really passionate about that. Yes?
How do you reward your staff members for the promotion goal?
They get to keep their job. You know, it's funny, we just decided this weekend that we're going to take the kids out. So the question was, for those over there, how do you reward your staff for a job well done? And how do you reward yourself? And so our staff all got $1,000 gift cards to Nordstrom's. So that was $9,000 out of my pocket. But that to them was a great thank you. The buyers team is more than rewarded because they have more buyers and more money coming in than they've ever had before. But they also got the $1,000 gift card. And for me, I'm making up for that family vacation. And we found a date already with school where there's like 2 or 3 days off. And we're going to go to Disney for 3 days and then Hawaii for 6 days. So that's my family's reward for all the extra weekends and time that I ended up working last 90 days I typically don't. And the biggest reward is we paid off a ton of debt. We paid a ton of taxes. Alex and I were driving up here today, and I'm buying a car in Plano, Texas while I'm driving up here. Like, there's some cool rewards that are still showing up. Yes.
I just wanted to say kudos to you because I did email for the script and I got a response in like 5 minutes saying I have one Wednesday. So
That's awesome.
You're here. I'm a realtor, but you're not even a client.
That's awesome.
Yeah, amazing.
Clearly somebody in my office set up a system of, I'm getting all these emails. Okay, respond Wednesday. And that's what it's all about, right? If you're going to do this much business, those were the breakdowns we had, is what kind of response time do we have to have? You can't get everything out immediately, but give deadlines and then stick to them. So that makes me really proud of them. Yes, sir.
You're getting, when you got all these listings coming in, surely in this marketplace, you must have a small degree of short sales. How did you deal with that?
I can
Did
say,
it bog you down?
I can say with all honesty that I did not take one single short sale during this quest.
Wow.
Yeah, not one. Yeah. And I'm not adverse to short sales at all, at all. We have short sale opportunities, we referred them out, but that was my concern. I mean, so last year I probably closed 30, 40 short sales. I mean, we're not against them, but they were not what was going to help fix my team whatsoever. And the cool thing is most of the people we're calling up weren't short sales. Your house expired way back in 2008, and I see you were for sale for 300. I can get you 325 right now. The reason they took it off the market is if they'd gone below 300, they would have been a short sale. They're tickled pink to get 325 in today's market. So I think by default, the main reason we didn't have any short sale leads is we were calling people that were so happy with the news, and it was so much better than they've heard in 6 or 7 years. Yeah, yes.
When you're talking that kind of volume, you saw us listed 300, how are you getting the data to be able to say 325 today? That's too fast to be able to have some.
I made it up.
Okay.
So the question is, where did I get the data when I'm calling those people to say you expired at 300, we're seeing homes sold in your neighborhood at 325? I'll be honest, I'm a very ethical person, is I made it up, right? But is it, I don't know your price point, I don't know your market. But let's just say your average sales price in 2008 was 200,000. Would it be unreasonable now to say that same home today would sell for 210? 220? Perfect. So you expired way back in 2008 at 200. In today's market, I can see homes like yours sell for 220 to 230. Have you thought about selling in today's hot market? So if we just use generalities of the market, yeah, it was just that simple. Yeah. Yeah. Great questions. Any more, and then I'll get back on track. We good? Cool. I really like Q&A better than PowerPoint. Okay. This thing is like so cognate. I appreciate the clock, by the way. Time block. So time blocking was our game changer. Has anybody read Gary Keller's new book, The One Thing? So I had a chance on one of Gary's top 100 agents, as well as some other people in this room are as well. And I got to be in a mastermind with him. It was like 5 hours. And the book had just been released the week before. And the whole mastermind was about the one thing. And 5 hours, right at the end of it, he goes, I have a secret for you. He goes, the key to great success is time blocking. He goes, this whole book could have just said 2 words, time blocking. Right? So you'll see on this right-hand side, does your schedule match your goals? It says 90 and 90. I really can't read it, but something about the final countdown. Does your schedule match your goals? What do you think happens after having awesome time blocking for 30 or 60 days? How much business are you doing? To your question back here, it must be exhausting. It was pretty exciting, actually. It got exhausting at like day 80. But we had so much business coming in with no systems in place to handle it, that there was a couple days when I looked around at this team that had not missed a single day of lead generation. They had not missed a single day of script practice. This is a team that never before, ever before, had picked up the phone and cold called someone who at day 60 had never missed a day, and on day 61 they're all gone. And I asked somebody, I was like, where is everybody today? Oh, Johnny sold 4 homes last night. Ben's writing 7 offers. Sarah's got 3 home inspections. I'm like, awesome. But where did all that business come from? Oh, the cold calling last month, right? So we had to really ask ourselves, does your schedule match your goals? We're all extremely happy with success. I mean, game changer. Game changer. Yet, we immediately got into the trap whose business has gone up and gone down and gone up and gone down. Mine hasn't, right? Never happened to you. So we were setting ourselves up for that. So we had literally an emergency team meeting that day. And we all talked about it and said, does your schedule match your goals? And are we committed to hitting this goal? Are we committed to doing everything necessary to hit this goal? And will the world keep spinning if we call people at 11:01? Or we schedule home inspections at 11:30? Or we write offers at noon instead of 9? Will people let us get away with that? By the way, these were people that didn't exist in our lives 20 days ago. Yeah, they will wait every single time. So one of our biggest breakdowns became our biggest breakthroughs is that this works. Yet after it works, you come up with every excuse to stop doing it. And as soon as you do that, you're going to wake up making a tremendous amount of money, and then you're going to have the biggest peak and low that you've ever seen in your business before. So we had one day that the team didn't show up for lead gen, and I didn't scold them. I mean, how could you be mad? We've taken like 65 listings, represented 40 buyers we didn't know. Like, it's insane. But we had to ask, is this the behavior that got us successful? Is this the behavior that will help us hit our goal, or do we need to stick with what we started? And that's why the entire office had this go up. Does your schedule match your goals? And literally, there's like 40 of these still hanging in my office. Because we had to, it's really easy to make excuses to write a million. I mean, on the way this morning by 7:30, Alex and I were talking about a 1,000,001 offer that I had going, and I was telling my seller to reject it. I was like, you have 2 more showings today, you've been on the market 1 day, just reject it, I'll get you some more. These are good problems to have. Really good problems to have. But understand that's Jason Jantz. I think he was listing like 86, which is why I'm just getting them on the market, just getting offers. Is that if I had gotten in the trap of working on the business that I had through 60, I never would have met Mr. Jantz. He never would have gone on the market. I never would have been able to tell him today to reject that offer. So, pretty cool. The script practice I talked about. I like the sports analogy. I love football. I'm going to the Seattle game against San Francisco. Super excited. Yeah. Oh, wait. Sports teams practice literally 5-6 hours a day, right? Between the weight training, the condition training, the practicing their positions, literally 5-6 hours a day or more. How long is a football game? 60 minutes? Yeah, 60 minutes. Well, for TV time, right? But their time on the field is 60 minutes. So they're practicing 30, 40, 50 hours to work for 60 minutes. Yet most of us, especially in real estate, myself included, for 18 years, we go and work and we never practice, ever. Ever. So that to me, guys, it doesn't sound fun. It's actually not bad. You can make it fun like anything else. Script practice became our culture. It became our routine, and it became awesome. I saw the most timid, meek, arguably insecure people on my team on week 1, 2, and 3 become tigers that could take down wildebeest by week 5. Literally. Throw an objection, yell at me, cuss at me, hang up on me. They killed it. And it was only because of script practice, but then we went and played on the field. We would play our game afterwards for 2 hours every day as well. Yeah.
Do you get any pushback from your team? You didn't hire them with this personality to be cold callers and all of that. I can imagine somebody who's been in the job a while saying, that's not my job, that's your job, you're the real county assistant. Did you have any of that, and how did you maintain culture about that?
The question is, again, if you can't hear, is for the people on my team that maybe their natural behavior style isn't to be aggressive on the phone, I didn't have as much of a problem with them, but they clearly showed up. The biggest problem I had in this quest was the people that have been working for me for 2 or 3 years. Right? They're just used to business showing up. Mind you, as inconsistent as it might be, they were just used to business showing up. So when their psycho boss is like, hey, let's script practice and lead gen for 2 hours a day, they weren't angry, but they were the last to come around. Interesting though, because they had the strongest foundation in real estate, in my team, my values, and how I do my business, that by week 6 or 7, they had the most results coming out of it. I remember one girl on my team that's extremely talented. At week 6, she didn't have one single piece of business. Imagine showing up and cold calling for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, plus some weekends, and 6 weeks deep, you don't have one single piece of business. Not one listing, not one buyer consult, nothing. But all of a sudden, something broke loose with her, and she's the one that been on my team for 2 or 3 years. And by week 7, she closed like 8 appointments in 3 days. Caught up with everybody else and ended up dominating them by the end. So it just became, we did it as a group and I led by example. And to me, that was the biggest thing that made this work, is I led by example. I didn't come up with excuses. I didn't get sick. I didn't find reasons not to lead generate. And literally, you'd see mornings where we were exhausted, and you'd see mornings where one of us would get our headsets on, and it was 9 o'clock. 9:02, the next person would. Normally, we're all on by 9. But there'd be days by 9:10, you'd see the last person catch on, and then we'd start banging that gong and throwing stuff and hooping and hollering and making fun of the dude that just hung up on us, and we were all in swing by 9:45. Even the ones who weren't necessarily aggressive that wanted to lead generate all the time. Lead follow-up became critical. Well, obviously script practice, lead gen. Lead gen we talked about excessively. Lead follow-up, yes ma'am.
What was the biggest challenge that you had in this? I think somebody just asked what was the biggest success, but I want to know.
The biggest challenge we
The
had?
hardest thing about implementing this.
I think it was, what was the hardest thing in making this happen? It was getting over limiting beliefs. I mean, literally, and we're not going to do it, but if I asked all of you, how many people in the room are going to call expires tomorrow? I'm going to get like 2. Right? How many people cold call, circle prospect? We get like 3. How many people are going to take the offers, the 5 offers you got on that one house, and take the other 4 offers and knock on doors? I got like 1. And the reality is it works really well. Most of us would love to list a house a day, but we're not willing to do it because we have all of these fears that we build up internally. And I'm right there with you, trust me. We have all these fears that we build up internally that say you can't do that, don't do that, you shouldn't have to do that, etc. They're going to laugh at you, they're going to throw stuff at you, they're going to reach you with the phone and kill you. Like, I don't know. We make stuff up. So hands down, without, I mean, we had 1 million breakdowns and 2 million breakthroughs, but the biggest one was just the limiting beliefs. Yes, sir.
May I ask why you did not call Pittsburgh?
Because the old expireds were so the question is, why did I not call for so many owners? Because the old expireds were so amazing to talk to. They were better than warm calls, they were like old friends. They were. I mean, who doesn't want to get a phone call and hear that you get 25, 50, in some cases $100,000 more than you failed at getting 3-4 years ago? So we had an abundance of those. We actually did the entire west side of Portland, and then we ended up doing the entire east side of Portland. For those of you familiar with Portland, there's an area called Gresham. It's an hour and 20 minutes from my front door. I have 7 listings in Gresham. I've never been there before except on the way to Mount Pleasant. Seriously. But we had so many old expireds, and they were so easy to get, we just stuck with them. Great question, yes?
So, you being the only listing person on the team, you have your showing assistants, buyers, agents calling, and then you go on the appointments?
I listed like 82 of the 90. Yeah.
Did they ever go on those appointments?
The lead buyer's agent then did, and he has 0 listing experience, but literally I have 6 listing appointments today, and I refuse to miss my son's soccer game or football game, and like, talk about exhaustion. Not that problem to have again. All our problems were good problems. Like, can somebody please go to this one? They seemed really nice, and then we're just going to come back with a contract.
Then respond to my email that way.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes.
You said, why, with your success and match your goals, you had a goal for this, how did your team?
Does your schedule match your goals?
What was your team's goal in this? How did you get by? What was their why for this other than keeping the job?
It was the buyer's agent. I mean, the admin staff I paid, right? Emily didn't have to post on Facebook, hey, I'm practicing CMAs, who wants to know their value? The buyer's agents want a quality of life. They want unlimited leads. They want good buyers, not the lousy buyers that want to see 50 homes. And we came to a really quick decision that if we have enough listings, we'll have enough buyers that you get to pick A buyers. So their big why was at the moment that we implemented this goal, our buyers sucked. They really did. They were terrible. They were not committed. They sucked. And so their big why is, I don't want to keep working this hard with buyers that I can't get to pull the trigger. And if I've got 25 buyers instead of 2, that means I have 6 buyers that will buy this week. So their big why is we were able to show them what the end of this would look like for them. And it was a really good life of selling a lot of homes to really good people. Yes?
You mentioned that you have a lead buyer agent and then showing assistants.
Yeah.
What is the role of the showing assistants?
Okay, I'm going to quickly go through that. We talked a little bit about that at the Market Center. So about 11 years ago, I had an admin person, and I talked right at the beginning about I didn't enjoy doing $10 an hour activity. In fact, I believe that when any of you in this room negotiate an offer, when any of you sign a listing contract, when any of you deal with a bad home inspection, I would argue that based on your commission, your dollar per hour is $400 to $600 an hour. At that moment, at that half hour, at that hour. In fact, I'm certain I've tracked it. Right? At the moment you're negotiating and putting a deal together, that's what they've hired you to do. Unfortunately, when we, and it is we, I'm right there with you, go back and we turn in the paperwork and we make the flyer and we drive the direction and we pound it in the ground, we're now working for $10 to $12 an hour because there's people that will do it for that. Right?
Yeah.
So, my next aha was showing homes. I would list a home in an average market, and 2 to 4 weeks later, I'd sell it. It took me literally 4 to 5 hours of work, and I'd make $8,000 to $10,000. And then that next week, I'd go out and I'd show a buyer 30 or 40 homes. I'd set up the tour, I'd show properties. I'd have to give the feedback to the agents afterwards. I'd have to bring back the husband and the aunt and the mom and the dad, etc., and I'd make $8,000 to $10,000. But that took 30, 40, 50 hours of work, not 8 hours or 4 hours like a listing. So the answer to the question is, I said, this is nuts. I've given up making the flyers when I'm out showing homes, but I was too arrogant, too egotistical to believe that anyone would work with anybody but me. I'm being honest. Like, they gotta work with me. They picked me. Dummy. So I ended up bringing in, I graduated my first admin person, and that was cool because she was looking for more. And I'd bring all the buyers in, and I would just, will you be my buyer? Sure. Okay. Is it? hey, thank you for coming in today. It's a buyer consult. I only do it in my office. Thank you for coming in today. We're going to find out what your goals are today, where you want to live. Basically, everything that's important in the home buying process. And I'm going to make this really quick because this is 20 minutes. I'm going to do it in less than 2. Our goal is to find out everything about this home buying process and to really explain how we work to make sure that we're able to help you accomplish those goals. Does that sound okay? Awesome. So we'll go through and we'll figure out everything that's important to him in his home, just like we all always do. Awesome. And then after we got everything that he's possibly wanted to tell us about the home purchasing process, then I'd say, okay, so you've probably been wondering, I've got Alex, my lovely assistant, sitting here with me, and I want to explain how we work. Is that Alex's job, and his only job, is literally 7 days a week, up to 12 hours a day, and I'm not kidding, is to show you homes. In fact, if it hits the market, his job is to know about it the second it hits the market, if not the minute before, so that you have a chance to know about it before anybody else. If you want to see it after work, lunch break, weekends, Alex is going to do that for you. How does that sound? Awesome. When you find the home you like, I'm going to go and look at that property. Who would like as buyer's agents to only see one home? Only one person? You guys want to show 30, 40 homes to every buyer? Who as buyer's agents would only like to see one home for the rest of their career? Okay. When you find a home or even a couple you like with Alex, I'm going to go back and look at it. Then all of us are going to come back to the office, Alex included, because I really want him to continue to learn. He's awesome at showing homes, but really you're hiring me for my ability to negotiate. My ability to problem solve, determine what correct pricing is, etc. So I'm going to write the offer, I'm going to present it for you, and I'm going to get it put together for you. Does that sound good? Cool. Alex is going to take back over. He's going to handle home inspection, appraisal, all of that fun stuff. He'll be right there with you. But know that if anything serious comes up through that process, I'll immediately jump in and I'll be the one to fix it for you. You're okay with that? Cool. Looking forward to working with you. So I would pay Alex 25% for doing that. So I became the lead agent. Would you agree that I'm your agent in that situation? I'm your agent. Like, I'm there. I'm the doctor doing surgery for you, literally. Alex is the nurse taking care of you through this. Alex is the nurse taking care of you, right? Taking your temperature, making sure you're comfy. He's doing a great job, but I'm doing surgery for you. So that's the showing assistant versus buyer's agent. After that went on my team for about 6 or 7 years, I decided, and here's what's beautiful, is I made 75% for over 5 years for seeing one home for every buyer I represented. Right? So every buyer took me an hour-long consult, an hour to see the home, and an hour to write the offer, 3 hours. So basically I turned every buyer into a listing. Would you agree? It was cool. After about 5 to 7 years of doing that, I said, I don't even want to do that anymore. So then I hired or graduated one of my showing assistants into becoming me, and then he or she hired people under them. So the answer is, I was the lead buyer's agent at that time, and now I've got a lead buyer's agent that has 3 Alexes under him. Does that make sense? And they go and show homes for him, and all he does is write offers and negotiate. And by the way, Alex is one of the top agents in the country. He's clearly not my showing assistant, but it was good to pick on. Awesome. Could you guys try that showing assistant model?
Yes.
Would that work in your market? It will, and your clients will love you for it. And the reality is, a good showing assistant is much more available than you are. In the back.
Do you mind sharing how your compensation model changed from having a showing assistant now be a buyer's agent, and what they got versus what they paid?
Yeah, sure. So I went from 25. The question is, how did my compensation model change? From me having Alex as my showing assistant to graduating Alex up to a buyer's agent with him having showing assistants. Correct?
Yes.
So I went from getting 75%, but I had to do all the lifting and problem solving, to I gave Alex 50%. So now I get 50% from a division I don't touch, see, or smell. I joked at the last presentation today that I sold my mother-in-law a house that I never saw. And I love my mother-in-law. I got lucky. She's a good one. Right? But I trust my buyer's agents so much that they represented her, not me. They went and negotiated the home, not me. They're better at it than I am. They graduated to it. So Alex gets 50%, of which he gives 25% to a showing assistant. But understand, Alex has 3 showing assistants. So if they're each just selling 1 home a week, That means that they're each making $2,500 a week, and Alex is making $7,500. It also means I'm making $15,000 on a portion of my business I don't touch or see. Now, mind you, I've got expenses. I pay my office rent. I pay the transaction coordinator that handles all their stuff. I do all the marketing that makes the phone ring, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, it's a good deal for everybody. Alex makes $7,500 for just writing their offers. And they make $2,500 each. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I love the showing assistant model. A lot of people cringe and say, geez, people won't work for 25%. They will. And they're good, talented people. They're really good. Because understand that when you get buyers out of your car, when you stop the 30, 40 hours that a buyer takes, you have tremendous free time on your hands, right? And when you have free time, you get more leads. Even if you don't do all the crazy stuff I've done the last 100 days, but you'll get more leads, which will bring in more business, which will keep your showing assistant more busy. So it just works. You can't generate business when you're with a buyer for 20 or 30 hours. It's physically impossible. Yeah?
Sorry, just one more on that showing assistant. When you just had one assistant, was their job description to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? I'm sure now with 3 showing assistants, you can probably have like somebody's on for the weekend or
Yeah. So the question is when I had that first showing assistant, were they on 24/7? Kind of, but aren't all of we? If you're an individual agent, tell me that more times than not, unfortunately, you're on 24/7. So they become you. But I'd rather have them on 24/7 than me. It's that simple. Oh, and I get 75% of money. Right? But then, when you get 2 or 3 of them, then yeah, everybody on my team has at least, they have 1 day off they cannot work. They're in trouble if they come in or work. And we like to see them have 2, but 1's a minimum. Yes?
Did you target a certain price range or property types? Do you call everything from under up to million?
The question is, do we target price points during this challenge? And I'm smiling because I've sold about 3,000 homes in my career. I listed and sold last week my first manufactured home in my career. I'm not above it, but clearly I've never targeted them before, if I'd never done it before. We called more by area. We didn't have any reason to care about price point. We just called in areas, and whoever answered the phone, we gave those 2 or 3 scripts to. Yeah. But we definitely picked areas we enjoyed working in first before I ended up in Gresham, Oregon, an hour and a half from my house. Yeah. Great questions. Okay, cool. Create a high production culture. Hey, Alex, could you try to fix that again? I don't know if it's fixable. All right, we surrendered. So we had the gong. That was awesome. An energy maker, it seems silly, right? But having something that represents a success, even if that's just, hey, I had a good conversation, that was a game changer. Keep score. Who in the room knows who Bruce Hardy is? Bruce Hardy was down in our office a couple weeks ago. And this will forever change the way I look at things. We're sitting in a room like this, the window blinds were open. He said, hey, if there was a basketball hoop out there and a bunch of kids playing, could you tell if they're keeping score? Definitely. Why definitely? Their game intensity so differently. Any other reasons? You can't hear them. You're just watching out the window. You can actually see that energy, can't you? Yeah. I started thinking about what Bruce said. I have a 10-year-old. When Liam and I are just shooting hoops, we are all silly and ridiculous. We're literally shooting over our head. I'm doing funky hook shots. I'm standing on the stairs doing funky stuff. Even playing against a 10-year-old, both of us, when we actually have a game going to 21, it is much more intense. There is no silliness, and we're both trying to make our shots. Would you agree that when you keep score, you go about how you do things differently than when you're just horsing around? So for us, our biggest game changer, number 2 up there, is keep score. So this is our road to number 1. And it looks like this is listings 4, 5, and 6, and so on. Right? So every single time we listed a property, we put a visual aid above us. Every single time. And it almost became a badge of honor for where that lead was generated. And that agent, even though it was a buyer's agent or in Emily's case, an admin, she's like, I want to put it up. That was my lead. Awesome. Right? So we kept score. That was probably the single best thing we did through this. We always kept score. In fact, last week, the challenge ended on the 1st. What's today, like the 10th, 11th? 12, even better. And so around the 8th or 9th, I asked my team. I said, how many homes have I listed this month? Why did I have to ask that? The challenge was over. We stopped keeping score. Yeah, but here's the deal. We had so much momentum going from the 90 and 90. I ended up listing like 11 homes by the 8th and didn't even know it. Right? But here's the problem. That momentum will die down. And I'm not trying to keep up that same pace I had before. But keeping score is I will never, ever, ever allow my team to list less than 20 homes again. Because I proved I could do 30 with a ton of work. 20 I could do standing on my head. But now I need to track. So we went down to the dollar store and we got some posters. And if you were to go in my office right now, you would see the 11 listings I've taken up on the board, right above my desk. So every day I know exactly where I stand on listing count. Keep score. It's awesome. Track everything and share results. There's a reason why I can tell you we called 100,000 people. There's a reason why I can tell you that we average 2,500 people a day. We literally, and I'm not a numbers guy, it's not even close to in my DNA, but we started tracking everything. And when you track things, you can see where you need to improve. You can stop using a script if after a week or 3 days or 7,500 people, you haven't got a listing off of it. Time to do a new script practice. And visual reminders everywhere. So, here's just a couple. We had hung up 90 days to 90. I think that was month 1. We exceeded our goal. So we just kept visual reminders everywhere to keep our energy up. And whether, to your question earlier, hey, what if you're an individual agent? You can still keep score. You can still track. And you can still post it to make sure you're on track for your goals. Does that make sense? It bonded our team, accelerated our growth. The admin team was awesome. Like, this may not sound exciting to present to you guys, but our first day that we're behind on the goal, our first day, like, we were behind. We were like 10 listings behind at some point. That's a lot. And at 1 a day, that means tomorrow we're 11 behind. So we did our first really big call day where we all came in for a weekend and called for 5 or 6 hours, 25, 30 hours of prospecting. Without asking, every single admin team member came in. We didn't ask any of them. This was just the sales team. They all came in. They brought us cookies. One brought us wine. One brought us sandwiches. And it was like an hour would go by, another one would show up. And they came in just to support us. Did that not create a culture and an atmosphere for our team? It was awesome. Like, literally, there was like tears in our eyes by the time the third one came in with their kids. Like, I'm coming in to take care of you because I know how committed you are to this goal. It was awesome. Just awesome. This one was a big one. We called it the war room. So we were not in individual offices. We're still not. We're not in call booths. We're in one open space. So talk about limiting belief. You can't make those calls with all those people around. I have to have private space, blah, blah, blah. People can't hear. They're going to hear what you're saying when I call. That's going to mess me up. We had the war room. It was buzzing from 9 to 11. It was like a war. There was a couple of days I missed admin for whatever reason. One of them I was traveling down to Texas. I had to come back in and do my lead gen to catch up. No one was there on the weekend but me. It was terrible. There was no energy. No energy. So whether you're an individual agent or have a team, if you're going to do lead gen, I highly recommend you don't hide. If you hide, you'll stop doing it. Find a partner, do it with them. It's like going to the gym. Do you go to the gym consistently alone? No. You sleep in. It's easy to sleep in. But if somebody you know is counting on you because they got their butt up at 5 a.m., you're going to get up and meet them because you don't want to let them down. We'll do that, well, some of us will sometimes, for our health. Try and do it for your checking account and watch what happens. It's crazy. It's crazy good. And brand new team. I think of the 5 licensed realtors on my team, 3 of them have been licensed for less than 100 days. 1 of them less than 60 days and 1 less than 40 days. Accelerating growth. Doing this much business that quickly. Literally, I feel like I could send them out with my mother-in-law tomorrow, even though they've been licensed for 60 days, because they've been part of 120 transactions. Does that make sense? Our systems were a mess. I've had some questions about, hey, what'd you do with the leads? dealing with the signs, dealing with the directionals. Essentially, this experiment really just exposed our biggest weaknesses, but we tried to keep a great attitude, and every weakness it exposed, I would consistently say, and you've heard me say today, that's a good problem. It's a good problem when he didn't get a sign, even though I feel terrible, I care deeply about my clients. But we put 9 new listings on yesterday, one of them we forgot a sign for. That's not cool, and he has every right to be furious with us. But the reason we screwed up is because we listed 9 homes in one day. That's a good problem for my company long term, right? But it did clearly expose our weaknesses and caring greatly about our business, our reputation, how we do things. We would always get a system back in place, just how you got that response so quickly. That wouldn't have happened 80 days ago, by the way. Personnel. We added 2 admin and 2 salespeople to the team in the last 60 days just to deal with the volume of business we're doing. And what was cool is we had our ahas last week when the 90-90 was over. It's like, hey, what did you think? What did you think? All the new people just think that's what every realtor does every day. They didn't know that this was crazy and weird. I've got to hide them from the office. And our technology, right? The Mojo Dialer, the Red X, top producer accounts everywhere. We are consistently adding new technology to keep up with the volume of business we're doing. That's been pretty exciting, and it's been extremely helpful. It elevated the norm for our business, right? Do you think I could ever go back to listing 5 homes a month? I really can't. I just can't. And by the way, listing 5 homes a month is fantastic. I just will never, ever be able to do it again. I don't really want to list 30. But 15, 20, 22, that's pretty cool. Create a culture. Literally create a culture. Like John, who lost his keys the other day, he showed up 2 hours late as we were wrapping up lead gen. He put his headsets on and started it. It created a culture of time blocking and lead gen. Do something for 90 days straight, your culture changes. And we will always have that culture now because it's fun, exciting, and financially rewarding. We increased our signed listings by over 400%. Not a bad 90 days. We're setting a new standard. Systems are now in place that can be replicated in any city or any market. Do you guys believe that? I'm not. But do you believe I could come to your city, I could start hiring team members, they could show up every day and see me doing script practice in media alone from 8 to 8:30, and then cold call from 9 to 11? And do you think in 90 days I'd have 30 or 40 listings? We created a system that can be replicated in any city and any market. That's why I was so excited to come up here today. This isn't a Portland thing. This isn't a Craig Rieger thing. This isn't a team thing. This was about setting a goal and committing to it and doing it every single day for 3 months until a habit and a culture were created. And that's what I'm most excited about this little venture that I went down. Yes, sir.
The volume of listing appointments you were going on, you couldn't have hour and a half, 2 hour listing appointments. I mean, maybe you did, but I'm just wondering about your schedule and how you do listing appointments so fast.
How did I get through so many listing appointments so quickly? How many people in the room do what I call 2-step listing appointments? You go to the home, you see the home, you make a connection, you go back, pull comps, and go back to the home. How many people go to the home and give a price opinion, try to get assigned at the first one? How many people's arms don't work? 70, 80-20 rule. 8 out of 10 of my appointments were 1 step. So I would go and literally when you've got 6 listing appointments in a day, by default you get super fast. And I would tell the people, like I do this every day. In fact, I've had 8 different sellers I'm meeting with today, which really might freak them out, but in some twisted way in the back of their mind, like this guy's really good, right? The other people weren't saying that. And so I would just barrel through them. And the ones that I'd walk into that clearly I was going to be way off on price, I would just simply say this, Dennis, correct? Hey, I told you that I'd come over and give you price opinion today. Your house is completely different than I anticipated, and that's probably a good thing. But I'm going to have to pull some more comps and give you a call back in the morning. Would that be okay? Cool. So today we'll just walk around. I'll be in and out in like 5 minutes. I'll do my research, and I call you in the morning. We're good with that, right? Awesome. Thanks. So that was literally a 5-minute listing appointment.
Right, so once you give price opinion about marketing projections and how often we hear from you and blah, 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 blah.
I didn't really get any of that. I I didn't. I mean, it's a limiting belief, but people weren't worried about that. People were so excited to hear that their house was selling and were getting multiple offers and how hot the market was, right? Like, those things didn't matter a whole lot. It was, do you want to look at offers on Friday or Monday? And if I screwed up on price, I'd call them on Monday and we'd figure out what I did wrong. So marketing was not the issue. It was getting a sign up and seeing how many buyers I could get through. Yes?
Would you agree that that probably had to do with you and your team setting the expectation of pricing and things like that before you went on appointment? So you're not prepared to get handled?
So the question was the expectation I would be that prepared to get through it that quickly? No. In all honesty, it wasn't, because we were in such chaos of going from 5 listings a month to 60 listing appointments in a month, which would translate into 30 signed listings.
Well, then I don't believe you.
That's okay. We were I'll take that. We were the furthest from prepared. And it was, for me, it was honestly survival. I had 6 listing appointments. I love my family, and I was working 6-7 days a week, so I would just get in and out as quickly as I could. And here's the beautiful thing. If we didn't make a beautiful bond or a beautiful connection, I don't mean this in a terrible way, but I was never rude, I was polite, I was punctual, I was professional. But if they wanted 4 hours of my time, which means I was going to miss my next 3 listing appointments, I had to get out of there, and odds are one of those next 3 would sign with me on the spot in 15 minutes. And I was willing to take those chances to keep my business going. So, I did it, it's true. We closed 13.1 million last 60 days. And I'm on track. Like, I would not be happy if I don't close 84 million or more rolling 12 months. And that you can't believe because it's posted. Buyer's team is now thriving. And our new focus is buyer consults, right? Because why did we start this in the first place? And it was to make our help our buyers division succeed. They were so focused on the listings that we didn't see equal exponential growth on the buyer side. And now our whole focus is 60 buyer consults in 60 days. Yeah. Yeah. But here's the beauty, there's 4 of them. So it's a lot easier than what we had to do. Yes, ma'am.
With you doing this in your market center, what effect did it have on all the other agents, and how many listings did the office get just as a result of your?
It's a great question. So I'm the OP of our market center, and what happened, I did masterminds last Friday, which is where I run masterminds and I do it in levels of production like 0 to 2, 2 to 5, 5 and up. And there was a lady that just quit her job to go full-time in real estate. She was at my mastermind. And on Monday, she said, I listed my first home. And I said, tell us about that. She goes, I went door knocking with an offer I'd written for my buyer, and they took the other offer, and the seller listed with me. Yeah, $317,000, 6%, and she had it sold. $10,000 in her account, right? It was a game changer. The momentum and energy it created for our agents was unbelievable. Because again, it was just leading by example. Great question. And we're on pace for the first time in my career for 2+ million GCI rolling 12 months, right? I've never made like more than 135 total GCI, which of course I got to pay my bills, pay my taxes, pay my team. And we're on track for about 2.4 million rolling 12 months from this exercise. And it's not all about the money, but that's going to be some pretty cool numbers as it shows up. Ways to win, extinguish those limiting beliefs. Like, I don't believe it. It does happen, I swear. Lead with revenue. Right at no point today did I say I sent out 100,000 mailers. At no point did I say that I spent money anywhere. As a reward, I gave my clients, I gave my team $1,000 endorsements cards. That was a reward. It was awesome. They loved it. They all took off like immediately. Lead with revenue. This wasn't about spending money. This was about making money by just working for 2 hours a day. Reward yourself and all who contributed at key milestones along the way. We played laser tag, right? We went on a wine tour. We did a lot of cool stuff to keep up from being exhausted. On to 60 buyer consults in 60 days. At 15 buyer consults, which they probably hit today, I have to bring a dunk tank into my cul-de-sac, and everybody gets to dunk me. Right? But it's $250. And if they get happy dunking the boss, so be it. Right? I just got 15 buyer consults. How many buyer closings will we get off of that? Reward yourself and others along the way. Expect breakdowns, and and use them as breakthroughs. And I think for me, it was keeping that positive mindset. It was, the problems we were having is, I felt terrible that guy didn't get a sign. Just terrible. I think we had one guy, we forgot to put RLS for a day. That is not cool. I am a very, very respectable business. But that's because we're listing so many homes, and we're also putting new personnel on. So we would look at that as the most catastrophic breakdown, which became an awesome breakthrough because of how much business we're doing. It created those systems of why you got such a fast response. Set campaigns for optimum results, consider personal schedules, and seasonal market conditions. I'm really, really fortunate that we did this going through summer. And I don't have any limiting beliefs that you can't do it in fall, but personally I would not want to do this through the holiday season. I would not want to do this if I had a trip to Europe, right? Like, consider your schedules if you're going to do things like this and those of your team. Find creative ways to maintain morale and keep positive. You know, that was our gong, it was our charts, it was laser tag. Like, there are so many days that I would stand up on my lead gen chair and I'd jump up on my desk while I was talking to people, and the whole rest of the team, because we're in this war room together, is looking at me like I'm psycho, but I could feel the energy going down. So I would jump up on the desk and the guy would be yelling at me and I would joke back and I'd crack up, but it just kept things lighthearted and kept us on track for our goal. And most importantly, don't compromise the goal. We so easily could have ended up at 40 or 50 listings like I thought we would when we started this. And that would have been a tremendous success. I wouldn't get to be here with all of you today. But we so easily could have had that happen. But we worked evenings. We worked weekends. We did not compromise on our goal. You can call or email any team member on my team and say, did you give 150%? And the answer unequivocally from admin, ownership, buyer's agent, is I did everything I could to hit that goal. And I've never done that before. Every goal I've ever set that I haven't hit, which is most, I've compromised on, right? I want to sell 200 homes. Well, there's a reason why I never sold 200 homes. I compromised, because I wasn't willing to do what I did for the last 90 days. Any questions? Yes, sir.
So you're calling your sphere, you're doing circle prospecting, you're calling expires, but you're only doing 2 hours a day. Obviously you have multiple team members. Are you segmenting, breaking that up to certain sections, like you people call my sphere, you people call expires, you know?
The question is, how did you break up those 2 hours a day? So Ben, the vast majority of the calling came from my buyer's agent team, because I don't really have a listing team. So Ben would set up their calls for the day. So if he knew we had a buyer looking for Montclair, he might do Montclair, right? And say, hey, Andrea, that's yours. Or if he knew I just got 6 offers on my property on Burnside, then he might pick John Burnside. So he would get their call set up for the day, which was really smart, because they would come in, put their headsets on, and start calling. If we put them in charge, nobody called till 10 a.m. For Sphere, I just called my own Sphere. I was so afraid to call them myself that I was really terrified for them to do that. It's a great question. Yes, sir. We used the Boom headsets, and they were noise canceling. Which worked really well being in that war room, because we're all there together. Like, they were full on, like Mission Control, like Black Hawk Down, they were cool. All right, in the back, yes, sir.
Did you call from your office lines or your cell phone lines?
We called from both. The question is, do we call from our office lines or our cell phone lines using Mojo? Because in Mojo, you get to program any number you want in. We often joked about finding our biggest competitor or enemy and putting his number in, so you get all the callbacks from the angry people. We called mostly from our office lines, and as our team grew faster than our office grew, then they didn't get the phones in quick enough, and we called from their cell phones, so the office phone got in, which was about a week per person. Yes?
Do you use the E-Edge database?
Yes, we do use eEdge. I'm KW, I'm the owner of KW, and we do use eEdge, but I'm also a creature of habit, and I've been using Top Producer for about 15 years. So we're probably 70-30. 70% of our touches go through Top Producer because I know it so well, and 30% I've incorporated eEdge into. Great question. Yes?
I kind of have 2 questions. I want to know what the average number of your listings, how many days sold on the average of all of your listings?
Of the listings we took, how many sold? About 2 weeks ago was like literally day 91. At that point, we had like 51 of the with 90 closed or in escrow. Now, mind you, I've had 10 sale fails since then, but, you know, we've sold some others. Part two.
Part two is just more strategy. Would you list a home at 475 with 15K credit from the seller, or would you list it at 260 and not mention the credit?
I don't really believe in my market of offering credits, so I just want to price it where it's going to attract the most buyers. So even like carpet allowances and those things, just not saying I'm right or wrong on this one at all, but historically I just go for the most competitive price. And in this market, a competitive price will typically get me multiple offers. Yeah, I don't like bumping price much. Awesome. Yes, sir.
Do you have any turnover in this, like, you have to take on new employees and probably anybody experienced hiring someone in the past, it can be difficult, you know, 2 days, full long.
Yeah.
And you're going through a big change and then, so you have to hire people fast, right?
Yeah.
You have issues with new people, or did they just kind of come on?
The question is, did we have turnover, fallout? How's my new team doing? Fortunately, because my wife is my team leader, so as I'm focusing on sales, her sole job was 8 hours a day finding these team members, so she was able to put some good time into it. Reality is that the culture was so powerful that I think even like if you say on a scale you've got a 1 employee and a 10 employee, clearly with 10 being the best, our culture and work ethic was so powerful for those 90 days that I think even if I have a 5 or 6 on my team, the pure energy of the initiative brought them up to 8s. Does that make sense? They tried harder, worked longer. It was amazing. So it'll be interesting to see in the next 30 or 60 days now that we've calmed down to our new higher norm. You know, we're here, we went up here, and now we're here and want to stay here. It'll be interesting to see who falls out. Odds are it will suck, but probably 1 or 2. It's a great question. Yeah. Huh? Oh, no, go ahead. I'll take one more after this, and then I'll get you guys out of here early.
If you were to do the 90-day challenge,
Good point. If I did the 90-day challenge again, what would I do differently? We went 3 weeks without the power dialer, right? Where is it up there? Is it lead with revenue number 2? We went 3 weeks without the power dialer and 4 weeks without headsets. And so, which also means we were calling on average like 400 or 500 people a week, and then we went up to 2,500. So I can't even imagine if I got those first 3 weeks in with the power dialer exponentially how much more business that would have risen to. Beyond that, absolutely nothing. But I didn't want to spend money on it, so my team proved that they were lead generating. Last question. You.
Can you tell us like the elements of your big listing presentation?
The elements of listing presentation, I use the TMO report, which is our total market overview. And it's truly my entire listing presentation. I wish I had one with me. But essentially, I would sit down with you and say, you know, here's what's going on in your market. You know, we're going to talk about price in a few minutes, but essentially, you're probably somewhere in that, you know, 400 to 450 range. And in your area, specifically your area right now, based on this page that was printed 3 days ago, there's 1.7 months of inventory. Do you know what that means? What that means is no new homes hit the market in less than 1.7 months. All of the homes currently for sale around here between 400 and 450 will be gone. Is that crazy? Let me show you this stat. Right now, we've got a 63% pending ratio. Do you know what that means? So currently, almost 6.5 out of every 10 homes you drive by, they're sold. Whether it says sold or not, because we all just agreed earlier, we don't use sold stickers all the time. Whether it says sold or not, it's sold, right? So what that means is there's virtually nothing for sale. And the last thing I can share with you, and this is out of the Wall Street Journal about 30 days ago, you can Google it, is that 35% of homes buyers have already said in writing they'll take their home as is, nationwide in today's market. It's so competitive, they'll take it as is. So what that means to you as a seller is if you hit the market, at worst you're going to be on, there's 1.6 months of inventory. 6.5 out of 10 homes are sold, and 35% of buyers are willing to take the home as is. So did I just become an expert to him in my listing presentation? And that's what somebody asked earlier about my marketing and all that stuff. I rattle off those 3 stats. Oh, and by the way, show him his house is worth $25,000 more than it was 4 or 5 years ago. There's not much left to talk about. There's really not. That, without exaggeration, that's my listing presentation. And then I do like Bruce Hardy's listing presentation. And by the way, Dennis, suffice to say, my marketing's exceptional. Do you have any questions about it? No, it is Bruce Harvey, and he says, suffice to say, my marketing's exceptional. If you have any questions about that, like, what do you say to that? Hey, thank you guys so much. I hope this was helpful.